save taxes in the UK. If I can get a corp tax bill in England from 10 to 6, it may not seem like a lot of money, but that £4,000 probably is a lot of money. Do you know what I mean? So obviously that person in question, you know, so I feel like it's making me work harder in my UK business.
I mean, compared to the Dubai, Maiden or IFSA, so a lot of.
I think I like that freezer. I think there's a nice little freezer around.
Yeah, when I come here 5 years ago, I also choose rack freezer. So okay, there's no like say, what's the pros and cons?
Except as all the people that registered would also use the same portal. It's the same portal. It's via the FTA through their portal is where people pursue that tax residency certificate.
So anyone can do it easily. Anyone should they should? Would you suggest?
They might as well do it themselves. People ask me to do it, and I just say, I pay. But they know your passport. They know if you've been. It's actually, I feel I'm led to believe I've not actually personally done one since I've never needed one.
Yeah, welcome, Stu.
Hello, mate. How are you? You good?
All good. Back again, huh?
Oh, mate, I know it's been a while, isn't it?
So today's topics all about taxes.
Shock horror. You weren't going to be about anything else, though, was it?
I think it's probably one of the most important topics in the world, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. Especially in this country for now, eh? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hot topics, the term, I guess. You know?
You still think so many people are relocating here?
For sure. I mean, you're going to see that probably even more so than me, the industry you're in. But, mate, 10 by the dozen, isn't it? I think it's just people are flowing in, you know, week in, week out. More. But I can understand why, though.
100%. How many clients have you got now since like this last 2, 3, 4 years?
Probably got. I've only had my audit license here in the UAE coming up 2 years.
Yeah.
I've got over 500 now.
500. Wow. It's getting more and more referrals.
Well, to be fair, I think actually in the last 2 weeks, so let's say 2 weeks, January, I think I've had probably 50 to 100 inquiries.
Wow.
Yeah. So if I'm basing it on that, God knows where I'll be in a year.
Yeah. Well, it's good, huh?
It's good problem to have.
It's good. It's like when people ask me, are there still people like moving here, or is there potential to invest in properties? I think it's just going up like a rocket, and it's
obviously,
not going to stop.
Don't be wrong. I saw something that like yesterday. They were showing what it was in 2020 to what the prices are now. Yeah. Everything's doubled, tripled, or even some quadrupled. Like 3 mil, now it's 12. 3 mil, now it's 8.5.
Yeah.
Insane. But surely it's probably, isn't it, supply and demand, isn't it? Is it going to, you obviously you're more heavily involved in property than me, but it's going to just keep going, surely.
Of course. But you can still find, say, if you look relocating with as a family, you can still find decent properties if it's in Satva or in Ajman or in Sharjah or Ras Al Khaimah, you know. So it's not like people think it's so expensive. It just depends on your lifestyle, of course, and where you want to move.
They might not get a job. Your wife might not get a job, for example.
Yeah.
In a school in Dubai might actually be a school in Sharjah. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
And why live right down in Dubai when you might as well live that way?
Exactly.
You know, each scenario is going to be different, isn't it, really?
It's like in the UK or in Germany, if you're not living in a city, you're living outside and you're traveling with a train to work for an hour. It's the same thing, isn't it?
Yeah, but then look, but the cost price will be like 25% of the cost.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. You got to do what you got to do, and you know. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So, so what does someone need to qualify to become a tax resident in the UAE?
Obviously, to get a tax residency certificate, you have to have been in Dubai, you know, or in the UAE for more than the 183 days. And you can get a certificate that says, oh, I'm a tax resident here in the UAE. If, say, for example, the UK don't actually ever ask to see it. Most jurisdictions don't, but some countries are, I'm aware, that obviously want to see that certificate. Otherwise, they're going to pursue maybe that person for taxes.
Like Australia, for example.
Australia, I believe. A lot of Scandinavia, I believe. Don't hold me to it, but I'm pretty confident are the same. Finland, for example, I believe. But but the way I see it is whether you've got that certificate or you haven't got that certificate, as long as you arrange your fares correctly and you're not in certain places for more days than you're allowed, whether you've got that document or not, they will not be able to pursue you for taxes. But you just got to make sure you know how many days you're allowed, you know, and where you. People sometimes it's better to focus on where you can't be rather than where you need to be.
Yeah.
That's the way I see it. Because say for example, someone is in Bali for 3 months
Yeah.
of the year. They're in Dubai 3 months of the year. They're in Spain 3 months of the just under, on just under 90 days in the UK.
Mm.
You're not actually technically a tax resident anywhere,
Yeah.
are you? Do you
Yeah.
see what I mean?
Exactly.
But
You're
you're
like
still
a
not
digital
paying. You're a
nomad.
digital nomad, but then
Yeah.
you're not paying taxes anyway.
Yeah.
So who cares?
Yeah.
Do you know? Obviously, as long as you haven't got to get that certificate, reverting
Yeah.
back to the question. You know,
Yeah.
so that's how I see it. You know?
But why do specific countries like Australia or Scandinavia, as you mentioned, want this certificate? Why like UK or Germany don't
Yeah,
need
see,
it?
I don't know the answer to that. I guess I think that what they're basically creating is they're really making someone find a proper base. You know, the way I see it is it'd be easy if I've got kids in school. It's impossible for me not to be here more than 6 months of the year. You know, but at that point, you've got more substance, haven't you, to the scenario? I think, let's say Australia, for example, let's say we want to know you really are settled somewhere. Otherwise, you're an Australian citizen, for example.
Yeah.
You can still pay your taxes.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's why I think you've got a base at that point. You really have exited the building. I think that's what I'm guessing they want to try and achieve there.
And scaring people,
At the
isn't
end of the day, it's not that easy. Some people don't want to don't necessarily want to do that. Do you know what I mean? And whilst you've not got a base, they're going, well, in that case, then you can continue to pay Australian tax if we're using that as the example. That's how I see it. You know, I guess that's the concept anyhow.
Yeah, just coming back to Australia, we just had recently a client inquiry, and he's opening a company in the UAE in Dubai Free Zone, and he's mostly not going to live here in the UAE. So because he's opening his company, he can live anywhere he wants, and he will get this CRT certificate for the Australian government, which is sufficient, you know. And that's happening a lot. So everything is legal.
Yeah, of course, absolutely. And also, like I said, like I said to you, I've actually come across a very good lady who's a very good Australian tax advisor anyway. So if you've got any Australian clients, she's said she's already happy to jump on like let's call it non-obligation, but a free of charge call just to obviously cover off the X's and Y's for your clients, Chris, anyway, mate.
Yeah.
So yeah.
What would you advise if someone's going to relocate here, say a family or a solo entrepreneur, and they're looking to like buy property, and they from the UK, for example, should they first come here, get the residency and the company, and then deregister and then buy also the property, or should they buy the property in the beginning when they're still located in the UK? What would you suggest?
It's a tough one, and I guess that's going to be obviously a preference of ours. I mean, me personally, when I moved here, I knew I'd be happy here. But I didn't know that my wife and my kids would be. They may not have settled in school, you know, obviously I sort of knew they would. I'd already done 3-4 months during COVID, but they may not have. So I naturally didn't sell my home. I obviously rented it out until I know we'd settled. Then a year later, I sold the home and I'm going to buy a villa, you know. But some people may be a bit apprehensive, if that's the term, to buy before they've actually got their visa and their Emirates ID and resided here, because you never know. 6 months later, a year later, might be on a plane going the opposite direction. Yeah, I can't think why anyone would want to leave personally.
Yeah, no.
But obviously, you never know. Some people do get homes. It might be super, super close to their grandmother or their mum. And do you know, obviously, some people are like that.
Yeah.
You know, with me, is I'd be like, look, don't worry about it. I'll put them on a plane as much as they need. I ain't leaving.
Yeah. So when you had the property and then you sold it, you said after a year?
Yeah. I rented it out for a year.
You had to pay taxes on that?
Yeah, I had to.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is obviously no one can hold me to this, but it's a genuine rule of thumb. The way I see property in relation to tax, I feel you pay tax realistically where the asset is, not where you are. Same as like with income tax, capital gains, etc. You tend to pay that tax where you're a tax resident, which is naturally where you predominantly reside. Whereas with properties, especially, I know this is a fact in the UK, you know, if I had rental properties, investment properties in the UK and I sold it and there was gains, I'd pay capital gains tax in the UK. If I rent out properties in the UK, I pay income tax on my rental properties. And that's the genuine rule in and around properties within reason. If they're in your individual name, sure. Of course, if you've got properties owned in corporate entities, they'd be subject to corporate taxes, of course.
Same as if you're buying
if
a
you
property.
if you bought property here in the UAE and the company owed them properties,
Yeah.
it would get there. The tax affairs would be of the company, not
Yeah.
of an individual, for sure.
Yeah. If you're renting or selling it again, you have
Renting or selling,
right.
the company makes a gain, or
Yeah.
the company receives rental income because the company
Yeah.
owns that asset, and an individual and a company, oh well, are two separate legal entities,
Yeah.
and obviously, and therefore, obviously, you're protected or separated by the terms called the corporate veil,
Yeah.
the technical term.
What would you advise clients if they are looking to buy a property in the UAE to buy it on the company or on a personal name?
I mean, I suppose it's different. I suppose, obviously, like me, I've got a couple of off plans and a few investment ones myself. I've
Mm,
actually just bought them my own individual name.
mm,
But then I thought to myself, I know that I'm going to not be leaving, so I
mm,
might as well just buy them in my own name. Do you see what I mean? But in some circumstances, like in England, I would buy every single asset I had in a
mm,
company. Do you see what I mean? Whereas here, right now, there's no income tax, is there?
no
So I
personal
feel
income.
like I might as well just buy them in my own individual name. Do you see what I mean?
Mm,
But over time, my stance on that might change.
mm,
Do you see what I mean? But I
mm.
guess we'll just have to keep reviewing it as legislation evolves and progresses. But yeah, right now, if I feel like if you're a UAE resident, I can't see why you couldn't buy it in your personal name. Whereas maybe if you're living outside of the UAE,
Yeah. Some of them
then
want.
my brain would tell me
Yeah.
maybe let's
Buy,
buy it in a company. Do you know
yeah.
what I
A
mean?
lot of people are doing that. They're
I
buying
mean,
a company with, or for example, if they have, say, uh, a partner
yeah.
or several partners, they sometimes buy it with a company.
Yeah, but then I suppose, yeah, if you've got partners, you might be buying them with other people, like whether that be mates or family, whatever. If you, that would make sense. It's very difficult there, I feel like. But let's call it deeds. I don't think is it T? I guess they're deeds in effect here, and they
Yeah.
obviously register them with the DED
Yeah.
when you buy a property, like land registry equivalent. I guess obviously it'll be broken down as to who owns it in what percentages. It'd be cleaner and easier with a company, wouldn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So, what's the process of obtaining the TRC, the tax resident certificate?
It's through the Joe, obviously, Joe, the same portal that everyone probably has probably been driving everyone insane. Joe, the FTA
Mm,
website, where you had to set up your portal to do the corp tax registration, which technically everyone who's got a company, unless it's set up very recently, would have registered the portal to do the corp tax reg within the deadline to save the 10K fine. Same as all the people that have that registered would have
mm,
also used the same
mm.
portal. It's the same portal. It's via the FTA through their portal is where people pursue that tax residency certificate. Yeah, through the FTA.
So, so anyone can do it easily,
Anyone
or
can do.
should would you
They
suggest
might
them?
as well do it themselves. I mean, people ask me to do it, and I just say, why pay? Uh, then they know your passport. They know if you've been. It's actually. I feel I'm led to believe. I've not actually personally done one because I've never needed one. But I was speaking to a guy that does specialise in this the other day. He's become a friend of mine. Is they know the days that you've been in the country, basically, because they're aware if you've been present or not. So they sort of know your days. I've been told it's a very administrative task. It's pretty straightforward. You just log in via the portal and you apply for the certificate.
Okay,
Simple as
pretty
that. Yeah.
pretty easy. So, what's the corporate tax here? It's 9%.
9%. Yeah.
So, if a client makes he makes a profit of 100,000 USD or 500,000 USD, he still will have to pay the
On
9%.
100,000 USD, no, because obviously that works out at about 375,
Mm,
and you've got let's call it an exemption allowance. The first 375,000
yeah.
AED, the first $100,000 prox, is 0% corp tax. It's only on profits above that would create a corp tax charge, and it's 9%.
So, how can you get more profit and reduce the tax?
Well, obviously, for the first X amount of years, you've got SBR, small business relief, as you know.
Mm,
So, if for the smaller entities here in the UAE, all the businesses that turn over less than 3 million AED, which will clear a lot. Think how many people here are one-man band consultants, freelancers. You've got to be going some to be billing more than that. Realistically, I've been told that small business relief will pretty much eliminate corp tax for apparently 90% of the businesses in the UAE. Because if the businesses turn over less than 3 million, like I said, even if say you turned over 2.9 and you had a telephone bill, a
yeah.
laptop,
Yeah.
and that's pretty much
Yeah.
how you operate your business. Yeah, you're going to make pretty much what 2.8 million.
Yeah.
still won't pay corporation tax, although it's significantly higher than the 375 because we can claim as an auditor small business relief.
Okay, that's it's works.
And it will just then, obviously, then it eliminates the corporation tax charge that would have been applicable.
So as you say, 90% would be able to pay in the end 0% taxes.
0% tax, as long as your turnover is less than the 3 million.
Yeah, yeah,
When you think about that, it's probably, let's say I've got 500 clients. I probably know that four, yeah, 450, 475 of them probably will qualify for small business relief. So you work out the maths, it's about 90%, isn't it?
but do you think that's the aim of the UAE, or do they also want to just make it easy for companies, or you think they're going to hire or make it more complicated somehow?
I mean, like, obviously not that I'm trying to downplay what we do as an accountancy firm, but actually when you think, same as in England, 95+% of the work is actually producing the accounts. The corporate tax return is a very small proportion of what I would call the year-end process, you know? So but here it's the same. It's the accounts speak 1,000 words. What the profit from doing them accounts after that, it's not a million miles away from a simple-ish calculation, isn't it? Bar a few minor adjustments or whatever it may not be. But when someone qualifies for small business relief, corporate tax return is pretty easy. That's why I won't bill for them. I've actually decided, same as you know, I've over 500 corporation tax registrations now, not charged for one. And to be honest with you, I won't charge for a corporate tax return out. To be fair,
Yeah,
I'm absorbing that cost within my agreed fees
yeah,
with
the
clients.
city registration.
Yeah, see, I did that all of them as a favour. To be fair, in the end, you know, but they were going to be clients, so it's
Exactly.
nice to.
Yeah,
It's not about making money all the time, and you know,
yeah, yeah,
goodwill goes a long way. I feel, you
yeah,
know, and it's nice to do a favour sometimes, isn't it? You know what I mean?
yeah.
I feel like sometimes in life, I feel like it's everywhere you look, isn't it? Someone's billing you. That's just
Of
life,
course, you're
isn't
always
it? You know,
paying,
nice to
paying,
just
paying.
not be that person. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
I want to be paid, you know,
yeah,
for everything else I do. Of course, I'm not.
yeah,
I'm not going to do it all for free, of course. But you know, sometimes, you know, like, look, I'll do this as a favour. Don't worry about it.
yeah,
Just owe me a coffee or a beer or whatever it may or may not be.
yeah.
You know, yeah,
You're building a long-term relationship.
yeah, for sure.
How is it, for example, if you have a pensioner in the UK and he's moving here and he's paying his pension out? Can he pay it to the UAE? Do they get taxed, or does it stay in the UK bank account?
Obvi- Obviously, I'm gonna have to whack a disclaimer here. Obviously, I'm not a financial advisor, but obviously, I know some very good IFAs. But yeah, I'm 95% confident that should someone be a UAE tax resident and they were to draw down their pension, they wouldn't pay taxes for sure. But obviously, once again, I'm not an IFA. This ain't financial advice and all that jazz. But obviously, even in England, aren't you? People can draw down 25% of their pension
Mm.
tax free anyway, once they're over 55. So people can access tax free money. Obviously, I've got an accountancy firm in the UK, as you know, as well. So yeah, you can actually draw down a pension, 25% of it tax free once you're over 55 in the UK anyway. But after that, you're going to get hit with the high UK taxes. But obviously, yeah. So yeah, if someone was to reside in the UAE and want to access their pension, obviously after a certain age, I believe, but once again, we'll speak to an RFA to clarify that, you can have that tax free for sure.
Mm. And for example, if someone works for a company in Europe or in UK and is thinking to relocate here, or he's working for the company remote,
Yep.
he has like a separate agreement and he's
It
paying him.
what you're saying is remains in the same employment they
Yeah.
are, but they're going to exit the UK from a
Exactly.
physical presence
And not
and
having a proper
reside here.
like a salary agreement or
But
contract.
what they can do is they would obviously it's not something that you get like that with HMRC in the UK. But let's just use the UK as an example. They can go on what's called an NT tax code. So you remain employed, and your PAYE tax code
Mm.
changes to be called an NT tax code, basically no tax. So although you've got an employment for a UK employer, but you still won't get taxed because you've left the UK.
Yeah. Okay. Do you get more people doing that? That the companies allow the person to relocate? Is there any benefits for the companies doing that? Does the
In
employee has
due
benefit?
course, there can be, because obviously for a while, both the employer and the employee have to pay their national insurance. Yeah. But after a while, that will stop. So I suppose for the employer, they won't be paying employers NIC. It's may have gone up after speaking to my payroll manager, but it was 13.8% the last time I know, and it certainly hasn't gone down. Yeah, so yeah, 13.8% is a huge saving, isn't it? Saving employers national insurance. So obviously in due course they would obviously save that as well. So
And the
it's astronomical, isn't it? Really?
so the employee, when he's living in the UAE, he will get more money.
Yeah, we'll take home more money for sure. Yeah.
And for example, if he doesn't stay on the payroll, he can just do like a separate agreement with them, and then they will pay him as like a project based monthly.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, they would obviously bona fide generally leave an employment. They'd get P45 or like obviously when someone leaves an employment, whether you've gone and got a new job or you've just tired or whatever the situation is, and then I suppose they could re-engage them on a non-employment basis, as a contractor, self-employed basis, freelance or whatever terminology you want to use, and they could use a personal service company. Naturally going to become, for example, a free zone entity here in the UAE
Yeah.
to bill the end client, because they wouldn't become they wouldn't be an employer no more, would they? They'd become a end client, innit?
Yeah.
You're a self-employed consultant
Yeah.
to your former employer, and they would bill at an arm's length
Yeah.
or whatever the agreed project price was,
Yeah.
rate was, so on and so forth.
So for both sides, it's much
Both,
easier.
both sides,
more
but
so
at that
benefiting.
point, both people are winning. Sure, yeah, there's no
Yeah.
denying that. Yeah.
And for example, if you have a company here, like a free zone company in the Ras Al Khaimah, Sharjah, or Dubai free zone, and you're not making any revenue, is that possible?
Of course, yeah. Obviously, yeah, they said some people have obviously set it up, haven't they, to be here. It will just be a dormant set of accounts every year. But some people are, obviously, you're going to see this more than me, Chris, obviously. But like, plenty of people do have companies because they want an Emirates ID to live here.
Yeah.
And if they've not got a property or they don't qualify for a
It's the
golden
only
visa,
official way
I
to
guess
do it.
it's the only, you got to navigate the system some way, and setting up a dormant business is your avenue through the door, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah. So
Where do you feel like you set up most of your companies in the free zones? Do you think Raquez and
Rakesh and Dubai,
Really,
IFSA,
yeah.
that's the most.
Ifsa and Raquez are the two
Yeah,
most
because
ones?
Rakesh just they market themselves very big.
Yeah.
I think that's and they have the pricing is quite reasonable. The investment what you're doing compared to the Dubai
Yeah.
Maiden or IFSA. So yeah, a lot of
I think I like that free zone. I think it's an all right little free zone, Raquez. Yeah.
yeah. When I come here 5 years ago, I also choose the rack free zone.
yeah.
It's okay. Yeah, there's no like say. What's the pros and cons? It's just, for example, your visa is based. If you get your first company, your visa is just based in Ras. And if you're
Most people first one, isn't it? They base it on cost.
mostly.
9 times out of 10, probably.
Yeah. But clients sometimes also choose they prefer Dubai free zone because of the address is based in Dubai, the visa is based in Dubai, the driving license, stuff like that. With buying yourself a car, So it's just pros and cons.
From a logistical perspective, it's better, isn't it?
Yeah. What would you suggest a freelancer who is doing like a graphic designer or web designer in his home country, and he's paying like we have a lot of inquiries or clients from Italy now, Spain, Germany, and they are now also thinking to relocate. Some of them already done that, and they're freelancers, so they have to pay 30, 40, 50% taxes
in their respective countries.
So they are now also thinking to relocate here. So what would you suggest and what should they do at the first step?
Once again, they would just need a free zone license, wouldn't they? Whether it's Raquez, IFSA, whatever you would suggest, is your bag, not mine. And they would just use that corporate entity to bill their end client in where they formerly resided. Invoice, there'd be no VAT implications because the sales are obviously outside the UAE, so no VAT to factor in. If they're a freelancer, 99 times out of 100, probably going to turn over less than 3 million. If not, good luck, fair play to them. They're having good luck to them on that. Yeah. Good problems to have anyhow. And no VAT, no corporate tax. You're living in a tax-free environment, aren't you? Completely acting as a freelancer, residing here when your end clients were formerly where you lived in. Italy was your example, Germany and Spain.
Yeah.
So you've hit jackpot in my opinion.
Jackpot, huh? So the only cost you have starting the investment is the package, say 6,000 to 8,000 euro, and then you have the license renewal.
Yeah.
And then the visa every 2 years, and then
it's every 2 years, isn't it? Yeah. It used to be free though, didn't it? But now it's every 2.
Yeah, exactly.
Mine's coming up.
Yeah. Or if they have a golden visa, they can do every 10 years.
Are you doing a lot of them, Chris?
It's more and more because the marketing now, even for teachers and you have a management position, you know, so you
Have
can
they dropped have they dropped
property.
the property value
No,
now?
it's still
Oh,
500,000,
it
but
is still.
you can qualify it before if you like paid less, you know. But depends on case to case, so
Okay,
it's not
okay.
like how it's marketed
And
out.
now there's another avenue, isn't there? What's it?
Investor visa.
No, no, on Golden, I mean, it's if you've got a degree and you're earning more than a certain amount of
Yeah,
money, that's another
yeah.
avenue
That's
for
why they're
Golden Visa.
marketing for like teachers and your managing director, your bachelor degree or something like this. You can
I don't have it. I want to get a Golden Visa. I don't have a degree. Which is
buy some
crazy.
more properties. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I guess I've got no other option, have I, if I want a Golden Visa? Yeah.
well, there's the benefits, of course. You have
What
the
about
10 year.
off plan then? Are they now saying if you've paid a certain amount of the off plan off, they
Yeah,
will allow you to qualify for a Golden Visa?
yeah.
If you
And
flipped it, say if you flipped it and you no
then
longer had it,
no,
they
you
could
have to
take it away.
yeah, you have to cancel. So if you get the golden visa, you have like say example, you have 2 or 3, 4 properties, they will be attached to the
To the
golden
Golden
visa, you
Visa.
know. So if you
Ah,
sell
okay.
one, but if a property value goes up, maybe one will just come out of it,
Oh, right, I know you
and
mean,
you
yeah,
can
because
keep the
that
golden.
property's gone up, you've
Yeah,
still got your $500,000.
yeah,
And actually, I could technically sell that one if you want to, and it not affect it.
exactly.
That's
You can
good to know.
do
I didn't know
a
that.
valuation on the internet. It costs 4,000 dirham, and
Yeah,
then you know the new valuation of the property. You
yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
reevaluate. It's very
Okay,
easy
yeah,
done
yeah,
as
okay,
well.
that's cool. I didn't know that, mate.
So a lot of things. Where do you think like the most clients are coming at the moment from the countries, or your clients you're facing, or have the most like questions? I know if I'm born and raised in Germany. I know Germans, they always the first thing or second thing is always taxes. Like they have to ask.
I think it's everyone. Everyone has questions around that subject because I feel like it's one of the main reasons as to why people, in some ways, move in here to a certain level. Of course, it'll be for the lifestyle and the weather and the
Safety,
cleanliness and the
safety. Yeah,
safety. But if someone was to say that tax wasn't one of the main drivers, they'd probably not being that truthful. You know what I mean? So I feel like most people
I think
ask a question and definitely have questions
yeah.
in and around that subject. You know,
But it depends if you're doing like if you start a new business here. Of course, you're still paying 0.9%. But to start a business here and what you're doing and what we're doing, and that's what people underestimate. It's very hard. It's
yeah,
very
yeah, yeah,
competitive, you know. So it's
yeah,
actually sometimes easier in their own country, like in UK and Germany, because there's more people living. In Germany, you have
yeah,
80
yeah,
million
yeah,
people,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
yeah.
So you probably earn me less. It's easier to do the business because you get clients easier.
Yeah.
But here you can succeed, but you can make more money in the long term
Yeah,
run.
yeah, 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 yeah. It's not like that. You don't just turn up here and start making money.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Like, quite the opposite. Let's
Yeah.
be honest. You got to graft hard. I would say.
Yeah.
You know, obviously, and yeah, it just doesn't land on your lap. That's for sure.
No.
People like to probably think that and say that. Oh yeah, obviously, but what happens in real life, that isn't the case in my personal
No,
opinion.
100%.
It probably yours then on the side.
Especially in Dubai, you see all the nice things. You see what you can do in your personal life. Can you a lifestyle you like to enjoy with your kids
Yeah,
as
yeah,
well?
yeah,
The
of
kids see
course.
something they want to go there.
That was my
you know,
main reason for moving in. It wasn't actually the tax, to
Yeah.
be fair, because I feel like what I save in tax,
it's good.
pretty
It's
good.
great.
My kids and my
You go
wife are
to-
spending it, mate. I'll tell you
Yeah.
that. I'm probably worse off. but obviously, look, just watching how happy they are every day and the smiles on their
Yeah.
faces, mate. Yeah, that's all that matters. That's why I do what I do, to be honest with you.
Could you
Yeah,
live back in the UK?
Huh?
Could you live back in the UK?
It'd be probably impossible. For me
Impossible.
now.
Crazy, yeah? Everyone
It
says
is
that.
crazy, isn't it? It's mad to think that literally only after coming up 3 years that I literally just could never. It'd be impossible for me to.
You
move back
from London?
there. Near London, Essex.
Near London, Essex.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
Essex boy.
Well, me, I couldn't. I lived in, went to school, finished my school in Wales.
Yeah, I remember you saying that. Actually, as well,
I
so.
lived there 3 years. It was a good experience, but I couldn't
How
live.
old was you though then?
We moved from Germany to the UK I was 14, and then
Yeah.
we relocated back to Germany when I was 17.
Oh, so about yeah, okay, yeah. So, like
So,
teenage years.
Yeah,
as
but
it were.
I couldn't even live back in Germany. And the thing is, UK is a dump anyway.
Yeah.
Germany is better than UK, but but the English people are so like nice, you know,
Yeah.
very hearted,
Yeah.
and that's like it's sad to see what's happening in the
Yeah.
you know?
I mean, it's tough over there for sure.
Yeah.
Obviously, like I speak every day. I speak to endless people from the UK because of my main job, like
Yeah.
my UK accountancy firm. So I'm on the phone, and it's hard for it to not like bring your not energy, I don't know that, but you know, bring you because obviously it's
Yeah.
a hard. I feel like it's always a hard conversation, and then it makes me want to do my job better because if it may like I'm not, I can help, but if I can help them save taxes in the UK, if I can get a corp tax bill in England from 10 to 6, it may not seem like a lot of money, but that £4,000 probably
Yeah.
is a lot of money. Do you know what I mean? So obviously that person in question, you know. So I feel like it's making me work harder on my UK business, you know, just to try and obviously do my best job I physically can for sure.
But what stops them, you think, not making the jump to UAE or any other country?
Thing like obviously I've got quite a lot of clients based in construction, you know. So obviously, say you was an electrician, how easy is it for loads of electricians? Do you know what? Obviously, like it, it's unreal. Do you know what I mean? That's the
Some
problem. You know what I
industries
mean?
are
Obviously,
hard.
certain
Yes.
industries it's borderline impossible because you're going to look at who else can do that
Mm.
job, and you know who people are going to employ based around financial figures, aren't they?
So you
in
think
certain
they're stuck in a way, or do you think there would be an option if they would make a change or find a solution?
I think in some ways they're probably stuck, to be honest with you, aren't they? Do you obviously might be able to come over and get more of a senior type, project manager type role are going to be fine for, I feel like, European/British, but to actually come here and be on the tools, it's not happening in my opinion. Realistically, I can't see it, you know. But
So the most people or companies who are moving here, they have like say digital businesses, consultancies.
yeah, I think professional services, digital based, but I think the world's going more and more digital, isn't it? You know,
Yeah,
I think from a digital standpoint, it's absolutely you can live anywhere. It doesn't have to be Dubai.
yeah,
It could be Mexico, it could be Thailand, wherever you want to go. You know, realistically, I think that obviously, like I said, where everything's so readily available and everything's so online and so many flights, obviously you can just in a heartbeat you can be where you need to be within the same day, can't you? Realistically, so yeah, I think from a digital space, I think it's easy, but I feel like if you've got a labour intensive type job, I think it would be you can go a lot of it for a while. I know a lot of people that were like going to Australia
mm,
because obviously they were like, hang on a minute, I'm a plumber or electrician or I'm in piling. A lot of construction people were because in Australia they were crying out for people to come and do that. But even now, I think
yeah,
they've even I think to get a move to Australia is a lot harder now as well. Obviously, I think
yeah,
their borders are shut pretty much
yeah,
to an influx of obviously expat workers for sure. I
yeah,
believe Mm.
yeah, 100%. Can you just put that mic up a bit? On? Move it up.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. So what do you? Yeah. So what do you think the most common mistakes are when people are relocating here, and not knowing something?
I feel like obviously I think I would have made mistakes, you would have made mistakes. It was a learning curve, obviously. But I feel like what people should try and do is, as long as they know someone that's done it, pick their brains a little bit. Just don't like. I've helped like I know loads of people that have moved here since I got here, and I'm like, right, these are the few things that I messed up. Don't do the following. I feel like when you move it, don't just try and go in there and just try and blag it. If you know anyone who's done it
Yeah.
before, pick their brains. That's what I think. Because obviously I had some hard lessons, but I didn't have anyone really to ask.
No.
You know what?
But,
Yeah, yeah.
but why is that? Why is that? Why didn't you have anyone? Why didn't you
I just
know?
didn't really know anyone I didn't know anyone that
For
really
YouTube,
lived
for
it.
example, didn't you think about YouTube
To be
looking?
fair, I didn't actually. To be fair, obviously,
Like me, I didn't
yeah,
look
yeah,
on
no,
YouTube.
no, mate. To be fair, I just sort of just, and also I'm sort of weirdly now I look back glad that I didn't because I feel like you learn a
You
few
learn,
hard
yeah.
lessons and you learn from that, and then you can add that as a string to your bow. Although I'm only an accountant to
Mm.
someone, if you can actually just give some friendly and helpful advice and just point them in the right direction on everything around accountancy, just adding greater value in some ways. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
That's the way. So, and also it was just, yeah, I just sort of just, don't be wrong. I did install faith in people, obviously, and the people that sort of helped me maybe set up my structure probably weren't as good as your company, Chris, annoyingly. So I just feel like I learned some lessons even on that side of
Yeah.
things, but it's, oh yeah, it's only going to be this, this, and this, and this. And then as you go through the process, what's this?
Yeah.
What's this? Well, I thought it was only going to be 5,000 dirhams. Why is it 15? Oh, the prices have changed. I bet they have.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then before you know it,
Yeah.
you obviously, it was this, it's now this. Okay, fine. Then you learn just little simple things like DIWA. You have to do your DIWA deposit.
Yeah.
can only pay for it on a UAE bank card.
Yeah.
No,
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't even have
Yeah.
a UAE bank card at that point.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'm like, well, I can't not get my DWAR started. I came in August.
Yeah.
I think I had to stay in a hotel because I can't move my kids in there. They're going to die in the night.
And you're
of
wasting
heat
money on the
exhaustion.
hotel.
A hotel when I already had a villa, but
Yeah.
I couldn't turn on the AC. So I can't move 3 young kids into an apartment that's probably 50 degrees inside.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So obviously, things like that, so I've helped quite a lot of people, to be fair. I've actually paid their DWAR deposits for them and stuff and just prayed that they'd actually pay me back. Not been knocked yet, so I'm going all right.
But that's how it is, isn't it? If you don't know, you just need to know someone, and then you, because if you can dive deep like we did it, learn the experience of what we're doing now, but you can also save a lot of time and money, and just pay someone, or ask them the questions, and then you're already good to go, and you settle quicker. In the end.
I feel like maybe though 5 years ago there probably wasn't many podcasts or probably YouTube videos around on the subject.
I didn't even think about that actually.
Yeah. But I feel like now, I feel like a lot of people here are actually, because I guess there'd be thousands of probably YouTube vids now, but 5 years ago, I bet there was only a handful. I bet there weren't that many. Do you know what I mean? Whereas I suppose the information's more readily available out there now than probably than it was for you and I, or the facts. Even if there was, I still probably would look. But obviously, what I'm getting at. Yeah.
Exactly. Even in your industry, the taxation, there's not like many who are promoting this on the YouTube channel. It's
I probably should do it, to be fair, but finding the bloody time. That's the problem, isn't it? Trying to find the time. But look, well, at least we can cover some bits off on yours, and obviously then people get a little snapshot anyway.
We use the Opus AI tool to make the reels. So what other question? What challenges do you think families are making when they're moving? That was just the question I just had now. But what's the most challenges families make when they're moving? Because they're coming with the kids, maybe they have a dog or cat. They have to have a property in the UK. They have to sell. Maybe have the business. They have to sell. They have to find schools when they're coming here.
Yeah, school. I guess schools. Obviously, I think you've got to realistically. I had to use me as an example. Then I had to move 3 kids out of a school and into a new school halfway across the world. Schools come with a cost. It's not just the new school. They're reasonably expensive, the schools here. Schools start miles earlier than they do. And trying to get 3 kids out the door to be out the door for, say, approximately 7 o'clock in the morning.
You take them to school, or you get the bus or the driver?
My wife takes them to school. Okay, yeah. But I'm up at that time and I assist and help the best I can. Yeah, obviously, as long as I've not gone out the door earlier, which is rare. But in England, schools didn't really start till 8:50.
8:50.
Yeah, they're starting at 7:45, and the journey to school is probably longer. Obviously, and so that's a struggle I find that people definitely have to do. In the end, body clock changes, and you're all just naturally waking up earlier, didn't it? But at the start, they're not probably going to be on different time zones. Do you know what I mean? It was a struggle, I remember, when we first moved this school side of things. What else I feel there's a bit.
What's the average? What do you pay per child at the school?
Too much, I'll tell you that.
Too much.
Don't know. Probably about 80 to 100,000 dirhams a kid, something like that. Per year. So if you've got 3 kids now, you can hear that. And also, they're not even in secondary school yet. All I know is it's only going to go like that because
choose a good school.
Choose a good. It's a good school. My kids are happy, and that's what matters. But it doesn't go. The school fees certainly don't go down. They only go one way. So it'll get more expensive every year. I have to just work harder every year then.
Yeah. Yeah.
A few more clients every year just to cover the increase, innit?
So what other things you think the